Those guys who needs no introduction. So without further ado, I want to bring up Brent. Let's give him a hand. Brent, you a fine-looking man. You a good-looking man. And there's a big misconception or myth or belief that a lot of success comes from one's looks. And I think you would be particularly well placed to talk about the extent to which that's true.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what I say. If you guys learn how to do all these things that we teach, the impact that you will have is going to be so much more powerful than the impact that I have, because women see me coming. Okay, so think about this. You're limiting yourself. Okay, if you're an average-looking guy, but you know what to say, the impact's going to be huge because they don't expect you to say it. So you got to have that frame. They expect something corny or something come out of my mouth, you know, some kind of line. They don't expect it from someone who's not like that. It
almost sounds like you're saying your looks are a disadvantage in some way.
Well, you know, they say your biggest strengths are sometimes also your biggest weakness.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Now,
true.
Brent, I know you're starting up some new products. So you have a new website, absolutepower.com.
Absolutepowerdating.com.
Absolutepowerdating.com. And I noticed that the use of the word power comes up a lot. And I wonder if you could address how, you know, there's like that book, Power versus Force, and what your understanding of the word power is in this context.
Well, power is something everybody... Let's sit. Right. Power is something that everybody seeks, it seems, as if. You know, I really don't know how I want to answer that question. So let's move on to another question, and then I'll come back on that.
One of the things you mentioned that you want to talk about was, and this ties into what maybe Jay was talking about just a moment ago, to be really clear about what we really want. You know, what are we coming in here for? What's our objective in this? So what do you really want, or what did you really want? How do you answer that?
Well, I think it's true that you really need to know what it is that you want out of all this. And then the second question you have to ask yourself is, what are you willing to give up to get what it is that you want? And when I say, what are you willing to give up, you have to consider that if you're not successful with women, it's because you're not successful with women. It's in your own head. You're actually creating that yourself.
I'd like to hear from your personal experience. What did you want and what did you give up?
I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be well-liked. I wanted to be able to do anything I wanted with women because I saw other guys that could do that. I wanted a drama-free life, or as much as can be possible. Mm-hmm. I had to give up a lot of things. I had to give up, you know what? This is what I had to give up. I had to give up being right about the fact that I wasn't consistent with women. So, you know, we as humans, we don't do anything unless there's a payoff, unless we're getting something from it. So I had to consider, what was I getting from not being consistent with women? And I was getting to be right about the fact that I wasn't consistent with women. Does that make sense?
It does. It's quite a paradigm shift. How do you go about changing something like that in your head?
Well, you just have to give up all these things that go on in your head, this inner voice that you're constantly combating, you know. You have to have a conversation with yourself. You have to think of your subconscious or your inner voice is sort of like a serious girlfriend, okay? Your girlfriend says, honey, you need to tell me that you love me more. And you say, honey, you know how I feel about you. And she says, yes, but I need constant reinforcement. I need to hear it. That's what your inner voice is. It doesn't believe you when you say, oh, I really want to be great with women. It says, yeah, this week, and then you're just going to let it go on and on about the negatives.
Well, you talk about turning some of those negatives into positives. That's part of what you're teaching. So
yes.
What does that mean?
Well, that means that everything that's negative, that you think is negative about you, you need to turn it into a positive using things like affirmations and just the way you think about it. You have to kind of open your mind.
It's just amazing, you know, what we keep hearing and learning is this is really an exploration of self and self-improvement at a really deep, you know, almost Zen level.
You know,
which is more than a lot of us probably bargain for.
People can tell when you're just repeating something, as opposed to you speaking passionately about something. When you speak passionately about something, people listen, and it doesn't matter if they agree or disagree with you. They respect the fact that you've taken a stand for something and that you actually know it and you believe it. That is powerful.